Hello again, and welcome to episode 146 of SDGC for Thursday, May 9th. If you're not aware, Super Deformed Gamescast meets right here every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we discuss the latest gaming headlines with a wide variety of panel members and guests. We also do a whole bunch of other stuff as time allows, like a separate show about movies and television, community game streaming, and a mental health support show. If you've been along for the ride so far, welcome home. And if not, hey, feel free to stick around and maybe throw us a subscription. Every single podcast is archived the next day on our YouTube channel for those who like to watch, and you can find us on all major podcast services for those who like to listen. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm good.
Are you good?
I literally just got back from Detective Pikachu.
You just got back from watching Pokemons.
Yeah, I did. I didn't think I'd be able to make it tonight's show, and then I got out and realized I had 30 minutes to get home. It was like, hey, let's fucking do this.
Oh my god, did you love it? Did you love it?
It was quite good. I was quite happy with it.
So happy. I mean,
it was a comfy good time.
It's not a topic that we're talking about tonight, and I wouldn't want to spoil it for like everybody else, but that movie made me so happy.
But Detective Pikachu was good. I got some trading cards. It was a good time.
You need to share those with the rest of the class, man.
We'll see what's up.
I actually wasn't counting on you tonight, dude, so I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, he texted me, messaged me earlier today saying he specifically wasn't going to be on the show, so...
Yeah.
That's actually why Tom is... That's the only reason he's here, is because
he thought he wouldn't have to deal with me.
If we had known that Derek was going to be here, we would have just kicked your ass out, man.
Yeah, I know.
Tom,
once again,
Tom, how many times have you been on with us now, Tom? What is this, like?
Oh, fucking a 38?
Fucking 37, yeah, like...
I have a question. Is that episode number that you said at the beginning of the show, is that accurate?
146.
No, he's lying about it. He makes up a different number.
I do.
It's a really stupid joke. Wrong. We don't know why he keeps doing it.
I'm of the belief that no one has ever actually said an accurate episode number at the beginning of a podcast.
It's roughly 146. Like, I'm
sure.
sure.
Specific rough number.
I think it's
all we have to do is count up one every week.
Well,
so.
Yeah, it's probably like.
I mean, that's too much for us sometimes.
It's probably.
I mean, we fucked it up once or twice, but I think we've been pretty.
Watch us do.
Yeah, thank you, Brandon. Fucking Brandon over here.
Watch us do like a 150th episode special, and it's like episode 149 or something.
Yeah, that's just on brand for us. So it has been an extremely busy week. Of course, I missed a lot of it because I was suspended for dragging a Confederate general. So I missed I missed so much, guys. I missed all the good Sonic talk.
Wait, were you gone for the entirety of Sonic's teeth?
I was gone for all of Sonic.
He was gone for the only amusing week we've had on Twitter in a while.
Yeah.
Usually garbage.
Yeah.
I was gone back just in time. Well, no, we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, we're not going to.
Yeah. Of course, like the morning after I come back, I log on gaming Twitter today, and I logged right the fuck back off. I was like, nope.
I sank deep into it because I'm a messy bitch who lives for drama.
But not only that, I missed all the good. Randy Pitchford talk. I missed all the good Randy takes. And that so
are we gonna get right into that? Because
so
I was in the room when he was doing that. There were 200 people.
We all heard it.
Yeah, no, there were 200 people playing his game that he should be paying attention to them. And instead he was having a normal one.
Wait, were you there on Wednesday on the reveal day?
I was there. I went there the day before for the media thing, and then I was there for the reveal as well.
Interesting.
Okay, so we're gonna get into
the entire room just screaming "log off."
So we're gonna get into Randy. We're gonna talk
in
about
due
that.
time.
Oh, look at that! We got genuine press sneak fuck in the chat.
Oh look! There's Imran in the chat. Fucking. Oh boy! Like
the press sneak fuck apparently.
Imran was fucking late. All right. Look, we're gonna get into all that. We're gonna get into all that.
You were ready to go, man.
I'm ready to fucking. I missed you guys. I was fucking off Twitter.
Actually, you weren't gone from our lives. You were gone from Twitter, but you were in the DM. It wasn't like
I was getting regular.
No. I mean, I missed
Gamescast account.
No, I missed this. I missed this. I missed all of you. Even Tom. This is the first time I've ever actually missed Tom, but I missed him. It was good shit.
No one's ever really missed me. I don't believe that.
He's bound to say something on the show tonight that will make sure that this is the last time you miss Tom.
Oh shit, Jeff is in chat. Jeff, why are you not here?
He just came to spam Saki.
He just came to spam Saki.
He just came to spam Saki. That's fine. So, Borderlands 3, big reveal event was last week, and two of these fine people here on this podcast were there and lived and came here to talk about it.
Basked in Randy's glow.
This was so. Let's focus on the game itself first. Like, Rebekah, I want to kick it over to you first. Day one, what was the first thing that happened at the Borderlands reveal? Like how did the day kick off?
So it was extremely extra. Let's start with that. I mean, you see, we are wearing our jackets that
Look at all
they're
this fucking
extremely
loot.
cool. I mean,
They're
I'm
incredibly
normally
comfortable and well made.
they really are. Like, I'm very annoyed by this
I
fact.
hate how
because
much I like it.
I know. I don't want to get excited about dumb video game swag because, like, come on. But it's
What about the
warm
big inside
and
plaque they
it's
gave us?
comfy.
Why wouldn't you want to
And
get excited about dumb video game? Look at this shit. Like, why would you get
John,
excited
they
about
gave
that?
us a
There- I mean,
3-pound
there's,
lucite plaque with a psycho's face in it.
Yeah,
What?
that's real stupid.
I'm jealous of
so,
those
so the
jackets.
serious
Those
thing
jackets are real
here is
cool.
like that is like something that happens when we go to gaming events, right? Like they will give us like shit and it feels weird to accept it. It's like weird bribery. I don't know how I feel about it. So I'm very annoyed that this jacket is comfortable and warm. It's like the nicest jacket I own. I don't know how I feel about that. Anyway, like aside from that, the whole event was extremely extra. Like a dozen roses on all the tables because they have like all those posters of like with
Yeah, it
the
was
roses
weird.
and stuff.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Nitrogen frozen cereal
Popcorn. It was or popcorn. I had
or
the popcorn.
popcorn.
Freaked me
What?
out.
I'm not really sure what the
What
point
the
of that
hell is
was. I'm sure
that?
it's like a thematic kind of thing.
Oh, hold on, nitrogen
It's
frozen.
liquid they
Yeah,
dump,
liquid
they
nitrogen.
pour a bunch of liquid nitrogen into a cereal, and when you eat it, smoke
you-
comes out your mouth and nose, and it's horrifying.
Why would you want to do that?
Because
It was
there.
just like eating cold cereal. It wasn't.
Is it
really
like
cold
eating
cereal.
a vape?
It was 8
No, it's
a.m.
just like eating. It's
Reb,
like you like.
did
like
you chuff some fat cotton?
No. It really just tastes like eating cereal that you've left in the freezer for a few hours. It wasn't
Sure,
that
Reb.
exciting. Oh,
Sure,
fuck
Reb.
off.
Jeez.
They had a bar. I was there for the morning and the afternoon event on Tuesday, and they had a bar with alcohol that was open at like what 8 a.m. It was.
Oh, I was
very
at
weird.
the afternoon event on Tuesday, which means we were in the same room.
No, we were. We absolutely were. And then there was the afternoon event on Tuesday. So I was there for two events back to back. They were basically exactly the same.
That sounds
I know
terrible.
I know. I mean, I had a lot of interviews, so it was good that I went to both events. But yes, I did have to sit through the presentation twice, which the second time I was like, yeah, whatever. But and I will. I am not here to defend the CEO of Gearbox, who makes lots and lots of money and does not need anyone to defend him. But I will say, aside from the single microtransaction, I mean, I went in there just peppered with jokes about USB drives and medieval times and like just
Card
joke
tricks.
after joke. Oh yeah, all of those things. Aside from the single microtransaction moment, he really did have a very literal normal one. Like the presentation was extremely normal and boring. And honestly, the microtransactions thing, I didn't even think it was gonna be that big of a deal. Like the way he said it during the presentation was something like, and I have the audio recorded. Like I had to go back and listen to it to make sure that I heard what I heard. But he started by saying, yeah, we're gonna do some heads and some skins, and then he said we're going to do no microtransactions, and the crowd just erupted and everybody's cheering. And so my brain is thinking, okay, they're gonna do like skins that you can earn in game, and you can't buy them with real money, right? Like that's what that sounded like, but like it wasn't quite clear. So I know that a whole bunch. I know we'll get to it, but like Game Informer did their due diligence, and we did ours, and several sites did theirs, and checked around, and it turned out that's not quite what he meant. But everybody heard it, and other than that, like I didn't think it was gonna be that big of a deal. It was like one single. Whoa! Oh, shut up.
What?
Sorry about that.
So wholesome.
No, my phone was loud because I took a nap and I set an alarm, but New Jersey is calling me. Who cares? But yeah, so then I played Borderlands 3, and I've only played the first one. I haven't played the second one, and it's fun. It's more Borderlands. It's more Borderlands. It's bigger Borderlands. Everything's brighter and prettier and more colorful. There's just so many guns and so many more things, and it's just a lot. I mean, I don't have like a super sophisticated opinion on Borderlands 3, but if you like Borderlands 1 and 2, you're gonna like 3. Like it's just more of the same, but better, and that's like what people want, right? Like
Well,
it's not,
there's like multiple planets this time, right? Like you're going off Pandora and you're going to other actual
yeah, you're going to
worlds.
fucking space, which I think the series will benefit a lot from, because it was starting to look a lot of the same. It's like wastelandy desert, everything's torn. It does start that way, but they had this very pretty big like futuristic city with fancy lights and robots and shit, and
Oh, that's cool.
that was really fun. Yeah, like it seems like there's a lot more room for them and their artists to do things that have a little bit more variety.
Well, that's
So
good
that'll be
because,
fun.
like, I mean, I've only seen video. I haven't been where you and Tom have been, but everything I've seen, like, Borderlands 2 was one of my probably my favorite game from last gen. I poured
great.
probably about 400 hours, 500 hours of that fucking game across Xbox and PS3. But everything I had seen was like, okay, this is more Borderlands, like, which is great, but what is the series going to do to shake it up? Tom, do you think that? So, by the way, did you go hands on with it, Tom? Did you actually play the game?
I played 3 hours of it. Yeah.
You played 3 hours of it. Okay.
You streamed it too, didn't you, Tom?
Yeah, I streamed one session. I recorded the other.
Oh, I missed your stream, dude. Holy shit! I didn't realize you were streaming. Oh, that's right, because I was fucking suspended for dragging a Confederate general.
That said, I did send Zach like my full 90-minute play session from the first day to look at.
What were your impressions, Tom, out of your 3 hours? Like, are you?
It feels like a modern game for the first time, which is cool. Like the gunplay feels like what you would expect.
That's good. The gunplay in Borderlands 2 was okay.
Floaty, slow,
Yeah.
non-existent.
Fine. It's functional, I'll say, in Borderlands 2. Because I loved Borderlands 1 and 2. And then I played this event and I went home and I'm like, I got the itch again. I'm going to install Borderlands 2 on PC. And I don't like the way that game plays anymore after playing that. But yeah, it feels way more modern. The alt fire stuff they do on the weapons is fun. So they have it where if you hit like down on the D-pad, you can like change fire on some weapons. They said most in the presentation, but I only came across a few.
Yeah, same.
But it would be like you hit down and it changes like your SMG like snaps a scope onto it and changes.
Oh, that's
the
fucking
fire
cool.
rate. So it goes from being like a close range machine gun to being like a burst fire like ranged weapon.
See,
Yeah,
I love that. Like, I really miss like the whole alt fire thing. Like, that was kind of a thing if like early 2000s FPSs. That was really fun.
Yeah.
And it's been gone for a while, so that's really cool. That's in Borderlands.
I feel like it has a lot of potential here because I mean, like he says, I didn't run across it hardly at all during my play. But potentially, if you get a bunch of guns that have that, you've got like what 4 weapon slots? Did you see? You could potentially have basically
3 open when we played, but they did.
But it looked like
they
there was
did
a
confirm
4th.
4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so you could potentially effectively have like 8 different weapons equipped at a time and just be able to flip through them with the push of a button and just be like go from like zapping things with electricity to throwing burgers. Like there was a cheeseburger gun. I didn't get the
Oh, I
plan,
heard
but
about the cheeseburger gun. That sounds fucking awesome.
So like you could just potentially like flip through. There's a lot of variety and it felt good and explodey.
Yeah, I didn't find out until the end of my last session that if you just mash P every time you hit it, it would just spawn a gun into the world.
What?
Yeah, so if you just mash on that, there would just be a pile of guns.
No shit.
Like at least in the dev build. So I was doing
I'm
that.
sure that's not a final
Yeah, that's
thing.
definitely not going to be
the way
like
you
a
said no
mechanic.
shit, I thought you thought like that's a mechanic. No, like obviously it's the dev build. But like I wish I knew that sooner because I would have just like fucked around with a lot of stuff. Like there was that one they referred to as like the 5th element gun that I got to play with, where you shoot like the alt fire is to shoot like a homing puck, and then all subsequent bullets just track to it, no matter where you fire.
Oh, that's like straight up the bullseye from Resistance. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that the developers just have a make guns appear button. Of course
They would. Why wouldn't they? They're like, we got a bajillion guns. But that plus the added mobility that they've added, like being able to vault over things and slide and like mantle up stuff, it makes it feel a lot less clunky than it was before, especially considering like a lot of my issues with Borderlands 2 was I'd miss a jump and then I would run 5 minutes in a circle to get back to where I was, and I'd try it again. So having like a fix for that is nice. Finally, it only took them 3 games to get there.
Were you guys able to get a feel on the skill tree elements or the RPG stuff? Like, are they leaning heavier into the role playing aspect of it, or like? So I don't know too much about what the actual character classes are aside from your standard. Like one's a siren, one's like a kind of like a ninja, and one's like a hunter. I think the robot is the hunter, right, Tom?
Yeah, I didn't play the operative guy, which I should have.
Is that Zane? Is that Zane?
With Zane, you can equip apparently 2 like active abilities, at once, as opposed to just the one. But he's the only class that can do that. I played the Siren both times because I wanted to like be good in my footage. Because if you're bad at a video game, people on the internet tear you apart for it.
People take your gamer card. You're a fake gamer.
Yeah, so like, I wish I did more of that. I went through all the skill tree stuff. You were only like level 5 or 6, or like you were very low in the demo, so I was only able to unlock a few things. Like I got to the 2nd tier, and it was mostly passive abilities.
That was the thing that I had too. The only active ability that I unlocked was that thing where she kind of ground pounded that we saw in the demo. I kind of wish they had given us a little bit more room to play with that stuff.
The first 3 were unlocked because they're all level 1. So if you just switch the other ones, I learned this.
Oh, really? I'm such a dumbass.
So I did one where she goes like this, and it like astral projects the siren thing at it, and it does that way.
Well, I'm not a real gamer. Guess I gotta hang up my hat. Yeah.
I didn't realize it until I was going through the menus, and it was because of like on my
Disgusting.
streaming day. I learned a lot of the stuff when I was streaming because people would be like, "Hey, what was that in the settings?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, I did have 3 abilities unlocked, and I only fucked with one of them for almost 3 hours."
What were the environments like?
It felt like a Crackdown city.
Interesting.
Well, there were multiple, right? So like there was
Yeah.
kind of that opening area that they showed us that was very torn up,
It felt like
very
Pandora.
Borderlands.
Yeah.
Like it was Pandora. I mean, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But then there was the city, Promethea. That was the planet that it was on, and yeah, it's a super futuristic metro, shiny, clean city with bright lights and city bits. I don't know.
Is it like a playable area with enemies, or is it like a hub? Like
playable area with
Playable
enemies.
area.
The
The
hub
hub
is
is the ship, the Sanctuary 3.
Oh, that's right, the Sanctuary 3.
Which is just, I mean, I've played enough Borderlands to get excited about some of the cameos there, but I'm sure if you've played all of the Borderlands, then you're like, oh, holy shit, I know all of these people.
Yeah, I heard that Zero was in the demo that you guys played.
Yeah.
The ninja
Yeah, he was
from
cool.
Yeah, that's
he's fun. He talks more than I thought he talked.
Yes.
I don't remember him talking at all in Borderlands 2.
He does a talk.
He talks a fair amount in Tales from the Borderlands. You meet him in that.
And that's how it was with like the Borderlands 1 characters reappearing in Borderlands 2 is they talked a lot more. Like when they're a player character, they're not that wordy. So.
Right, yeah.
Well, and speaking of Tales from the Borderlands, Reese, there's a
cool
bridge
mustache.
between Tales from the Borderlands, and he's the CEO of Atlas, right?
Yep.
In Borderlands 2 or Borderlands 3.
In our demo, they were at like sort of a like war with another corporation. That was like the backdrop of that planet's whole thing.
Was there any discussion about the actual like size of the game? Because Borderlands 2 was a much bigger game than Borderlands 1. Like if you're just talking real estate, and with multiple planets, like did they give any indication as to how like big Pandora was compared to Borderlands 2? And then okay, well it's also comparable in size to these other planets you have to go visit. It sounds a little Destiny-ish.
I don't think they said anything specific because they really only talked about Pandora and Promethea, and they really only showed us a couple areas of them. I know I read somewhere that it was going to be like if you booked it through the game, you'd finish it in like 30 to 35 hours, but that's if you were just only doing the absolutely required stuff to finish it. So that maybe gives you the vaguest of ideas of how big it is. And then there's, going to be, of course, end game content. So I don't think we know yet, but the idea being there will definitely be multiple planets and multiple areas like that.
You know what I hope we get in Borderlands 2 or Borderlands 3? I keep fucking wanting to say Borderlands 2. What I hope we get in Borderlands 3 out of, well, not just, well, yeah, of course, but in Borderlands 3, I hope we get actual raids, like as opposed to, because like in Borderlands 2, it's just like raid bosses, right? It's like
I have a feeling that if it's not there at launch, that is definitely something coming post-launch.
It has to be, right?
Yeah, I could see that.
Like even Ghost Recon, the new Ghost Recon today said they have raids. Like
that's cool.
Yeah.
By the way. But yeah, like I'd be surprised they didn't have at least like one raid activity.
Yeah, like beyond just like a bullet sponge boss that you got to fight. Those were really fun in Borderlands 2, but I feel like in the age of Destiny and Destiny 2 and the Division 2, well, whether it be raids or incursions or whatever the Division 2 calls them, it's not even out yet. Like you need more.
This is a PvE focused game.
Yeah.
As opposed to like even Destiny is like a heavy PvP element once you're done with like story stuff. So like for a game like this that's strictly that, they have to do something to make the end game worth it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, and I get like Borderlands 2 was meant to be played over and over, like Diablo. You know, like you just played at a higher difficulty and you get better loot. But I agree. Like, I don't think that particular gameplay loop is going to entice as many people as it did last time, simply because there's more options out there now, right? Which I guess comes to my next question. I want to throw this out to everybody. Like, obviously, you know, like there's a lot of hype about Borderlands 3 and everybody's really excited about it. In a post Destiny 2 Division 2 world, like beyond planets, what does this game need to do to shake it up? Like, what are or is the name Borderlands enough? Like, is it just enough that it's Borderlands 3, or are they going to have to do something beyond just adding more real estate, adding more planets?
I think just being Borderlands is enough.
You think so?
I like.
It's been long enough. Yeah, I think so.
It's been a long time, and like people really like those games. I actually just replayed the first one with that remaster, and like even though like that game feels its age, I still had a good time with it. And like even among like the people that I know that, you know, are more casual like players, like Borderlands and Borderlands 2 were really popular among that group. And like there's a lot of them that have been waiting for a new Borderlands. I think it's going to be a real big success.
I'm with Justin. I mean, I've only played the first one, so I'm not, you know, a super big Borderlands fan. But I think just from what I know of Borderlands and from what I've seen of this game, I think just expanding on all the things they're really they know. That was what kind of came through in all of I had 3 interviews, and all of them know that the people who love Borderlands love it for what it is, and they're not looking for some just massive innovation. They're not looking for anything to shake it up. They just want more of what is already there. They want it to be bigger and shinier, and to take I don't want to say take up more of their time, but yeah, like to be something they can play for the long term, and to have, you know, kind of this ongoing content, these ongoing adventures that they can have with their friends. Also, I mean, I think the story matters quite a bit, because that is one of the things, aside from being a looter shooter, Borderlands does lean pretty heavily on.
So much.
I know it's better than
At least it's
calling
not
it a schluter. Can I call it a schluter?
Schluter.
Just for you, I'm gonna call it a schluter the rest of this time.
I like Schluter. Yeah.
No, I will curl up and shrivel.
So aside from just being a schluter, it's also the whole thing is the game. Hey, Tom did this. The whole thing is it has this story, right? Like, and it's fun and crass and over the top and just kind of stupid at times. And so I think it'll lean on that, and then it'll lean on ongoing content to keep itself going. I mean, this game will sell. This game will sell, and I think it'll be good in spite of Randy Pitchford's bizarre meltdown. I think this game is going to be really good.
So I want to ask about that. I do.
We'll let everybody else finish though.
Well, I was going to kick it over to Brandon. Brandon, are you a Borderlands guy at all?
Nope. I did play him though, but
Played him. I fucking hate him.
Brandon,
no, I don't fucking hate him. I just don't care.
Brandon,
that's even worse.
Brandon has got that Marine bluntless that I identify with, and I just really appreciate it. Brandon, what do you think about this? Nope.
I just want to bring up that I have it on authority that in the SDGQ group chat, at least as of March 12th, 2019, John made a bet to the rest of the group that Borderlands 3 will be a flop.
He's already done that multiple times.
He has been on record saying that no one would care about Borderlands 3. And
John,
then I showed him what the line was at PAX for the reveal.
Making fucking bets, man. You still owe me a mobile game. What the fuck?
Okay, first of all, I'm going to play the mobile game on Saturday.
Sure.
Okay.
I changed my mind, by the way. You're playing Florence.
What's Florence? I don't even know what
find
that is.
out.
John, you'll like it. You'll like it. It's like 45 minutes long.
She's partnered up with the machine. She sings in the Final Fantasy 15 trailer. Continue.
Okay, first of all, I want to address Sam in chat, who says John has a long history of calling things flops before they became successes. Fuck you, Sam. Okay, first of all, you're wrong.
Is he wrong?
That's not a response.
110% wrong. Okay. Also, Imran says, I'm upset Reb gave you a good game to play.
Imran, I explained this to you.
Imran, what the fuck is that? Like,
Mr. Venom will bomb negative.
okay, Venom was shit. Okay, like
I regret giving this airtime at the moment, but the reason John's playing a mobile game is because he lost a bet with me about Nintendo Directs, and the reason I gave him a good mobile game to
Was it
play
about
is
Metroid
because
Prime Trilogy?
It was
not
about the
quite.
existence of
It
a
was
direct
About the
period.
existence of a direct.
But really,
like,
every
this was the
Direct is about the
second week-
Metroid Prime trilogy.
This was the second week in a row he made a bet with Reb about there being a Nintendo Direct, and it was the second week in a row he
that he
lost.
lost.
Yeah.
But anyway, he
Yeah.
made this bet, and the reason I gave him a good
Yeah.
game to play is because he constantly shits on mobile games, and I'm trying to prove to him that
Whoa,
mobile is a really
okay.
interesting. Don't even argue with
That's-
me on
We
that.
need to
Reb,
not
that's-
get
Reb,
down.
Reb, you just threw out the mom voice.
Reb,
Like, for that.
First of all, that's harsh. That's a little strong. I don't shit on mobile games.
Oh,
I just don't.
bullshit,
I would not say.
John.
Whoa, Jesus! What's with the hostility? All I'm
Hey
saying-
guys, can we potentially move to an actual topic? Because this could go on for 30 minutes.
No, we
Derek's-
don't.
Derek's
Derek's right.
Whatever. Okay, so
Okay,
look,
let's
listen.
make fun of Randy. Like,
So now that so
better.
if Reb is done slamming my face onto a hot stove over and over, okay, let's. Wow, yo, Reb just threw up the fucking freedom rocket at me, man. Not cool. Wow. Game Dad gets no respect on his own podcast. So let's talk about Randy.
I'm down.
I was of course suspended. Fucking chat. I was of course suspended from Twitter for 9 days. Again for dragging a Confederate general. Thank you for that, Twitter. And so I came back to all the delicious Randy goodness. I could talk about it in the official chat DMs, but I couldn't actually tweet about it. And it was so frustrating because I desperately wanted to fucking cut on this. So I actually took the liberty of pulling up some tweets from Randy here, but Reb, why don't you give us the setup for what actually happened?
Oh gosh. Okay.
Can-
So
can I
as
read the tweets?
Oh, you may read the tweets. I don't have them pulled up, so you absolutely may. I will get you there. So as I mentioned earlier, there came a point in the presentation where Randy Pitchford decided to mention the issue of microtransactions. And in the past, Borderlands games have had, I believe this is correct, cosmetic DLC where you could pay real money and get like some sort of skin type thing. I didn't play Borderlands 2, but I think that's correct, right?
Yeah.
No one's arguing with me, so I'm gonna go with that's what happened.
That's correct.
Anyway, so he claims that at least at the presentation I was at, I didn't watch the live reveal because I had already seen
It was literally exactly the same.
But at the presentation I was at, he didn't really set it up like that. He claims later that he set it up as being just like the previous games, but that's not what happened. He said that, yeah, we're going to do some heads and skins. And then he said, but we will have no microtransactions. And this huge cheer went up. So that's the presentation on Tuesday. And then Wednesday at the live reveal, I presume, as what Tom said, and Justin, he does the exact same thing, says the same thing. And I'm watching because the embargo is lifted on all this news, right? And I'm watching, and I had heard him do this, and I had in my piece, so I was watching for it, that, he said no microtransactions, but that wasn't entirely true. So I was curious as to like what other sites were doing. And I looked, about half the sites that I saw with news ran with the no microtransactions in Borderlands. And about half of them had asked somebody and kind of, maybe they didn't run with the headline, but they maybe had it included somewhere. And then a whole bunch of people, when he said it on stream, freaked out on Twitter and were like, no microtransactions, because that's where we've gotten to as a video game society.
That's where we're
And
at.
so then we get to our good pals at Game Informer, who did their journalistic homework. And when Randy Pitchford said something that seemed to contradict itself, they asked for more information, and now we take it to Justin.
So, Game Informer's headline, or tweet, is despite Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford's comment about no microtransactions in Borderlands 3 during today's live stream, we have been told cosmetic items are still purchasable.
Completely accurate.
Clear, accurate, and
So-
also most people, if they had just said cosmetic only, everything
cheer.
would have
So-
been
so-
fine.
cheer.
Justin,
Everyone's great.
before we go any further, can you please very quickly tell people what a fucking microtransaction is defined as?
Jesus Christ.
Okay, no, because that's part of this argument, apparently.
Well then, by all means, please continue with the. All right,
Okay,
fine. Just read the tweets. Just read the fucking tweets. Justin.
Okay,
Just read the tweets.
And that gets a pretty pretty immediate response from Randy Pitchford, CEO of Gearbox.
Just do it, man.
Do it.
Come on, guys. Shitty clickbait headline. Literally seconds before I said that, I made it very clear we're going to do more cosmetic stuff like we did in Borderlands 2. You know I was talking about premium currency and loot boxes kind of stuff not being in our game. Why would you guys fuck me on this is on me. Thanks a lot.
Oh,
I
fuck.
appreciate
I can't
the
believe
dramatic
you've done this.
delivery. I can't believe you've done this.
So, it continues. I have a lot of these
What, like 19
screen capped.
hours? Like,
It
just...
was
He was
more
than a
melting
day.
down for like a day straight.
This
And he
man
was
went
still-
to sleep, woke back up, and got
he
immediately
sta-
back to
he
it.
started at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and it went till 4 a.m.
That's all I can think of now. That's all I can think of now is I can't believe you've done this.
I just imagine him at this reveal event. Like, he's supposed to be at this event celebrating this really probably going to be very good game that they've just a doggy.
Okay,
so
so
cute.
I've got a couple more screen capped. I just
Can we
want to
just-
go
real
through.
quick,
I'm
can we
just
just
imagining him tweeting these.
I don't
we
have
just
all of them
appreciate-
because it's like a lot.
Hold on, real quick, Justin. Can we just appreciate Derek's wholesome dog?
Oh, that
Like,
dog.
look at that dog. That's such a good
That's
That's a
dog.
good amount of
doggy.
dog.
55 tweets.
55 tweets. Like Tom.
55 tweets?
Tom, was he like fucking on stage? Like, hold on, guys. Like tweeting responses to fucking fans as he was giving the presentation. Like,
No, he was over by the kimchi sliders with his son.
Are you serious? Did you see him
Yeah.
doing that?
I saw him over there.
So here's more. It was okay. There was 55 tweets that tagged Game Informer. There was a lot more. He responded.
where's Randy at?
and
He's
then-
over by the kimchi slider shit posting
Okay,
on Twitter.
okay.
No,
Like,
Justin,
let me
no,
also
Justin,
just
please.
let me also just clarify that not all of these tweets were at Game Informer. A lot of them were at fans. Media people that were invited to cover the event. Like, this was supposed to be their big day. And honestly, it was tonight's show where I heard the most about the actual game because everybody was talking about this.
He called a fan a
Like,
fuckwit.
He
Well, he also called the writer of the article a fuckwit, which, Justin, go ahead. But I want to get
So-
back to that because I have a fucking
Yeah.
problem.
He had a
with
fucking
Oh,
capital N normal one that day.
Yeah,
man.
he started off Meltdown May in the best form. Not
No
my fault
kidding.
that in their haste to make a shitty clickbait Twitter headline, Game Informer failed to respect the context of the sentences said literally seconds before the word microtransaction was uttered. But fuck you very much, you semantically pedantic troll.
What the
That's what he said.
What are you doing?
That's what he said.
Randy!
That's what he said to a fan.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that tweet is still up.
Okay,
I can't.
And this is another one to, again, a fan.
Just so you guys realize, he tweeted this at 1:45 p.m. according to my Twitter thing, which means that it was actually what? Like, do these adjust for time zone? Because
Yeah,
it was like,
it'll
it was
show
like
in your
11 in the
time
morning.
zone.
Yeah,
It was
no,
like
he
11
was-
in the morning where he was. So, okay, there's just like 3 more
Please,
I've got.
no, please.
Okay, so this is, again, another one to a fan. Either you've never played Borderlands 2 or you're just being a fuckwit troll. Kindly fuck off.
What is with
Borderlands-
fuckwit?
Borderlands is the gold standard with downloadable content and consumer value in a post-launch environment.
Oh my
We
god!
have always been transparent and sincere in this. What is your problem?
I
I
was afraid. I was watching this live on like Twitter, and I was terrified because I thought he was just one bad tweet away from calling someone the R word on Twitter.
I mean,
This whole
you're
episode is
not
like-
okay.
wrong.
Like
these last two.
Justin, here's the thing though, real quick. With the marketing, like with the corporate marketing speak he's using, he sounds like what happens if Phil Spencer snorts a line of asbestos.
It's straight up Tom Cruise's character from Tropic Thunder screaming
Oh
into
my
the phone.
god.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So these last two, and then I also have a bit of commentary on this whole situation. These are to Andy McNamara from Game Informer.
Oh, that poor
God.
man.
I'm just so hurt right now, Andy.
Fuck you, Randy.
Bless his heart.
I can't even get through the rest of these two tweets because of that.
Bless his heart.
I'm just so hurt right now, Andy. I have swallowed so much shit for so many years of folks on your side of this industry, making me out as if I'm some kind of profit-only gamer-exploiting liar. You know me. I have dedicated my entire life to entertaining people. After 5 years of beating back suits, pressuring me to put premium currency and loot boxes in this game, to get fucked by you now is one of the most hurtful things I have ever experienced.
In
the poor mistreated
in the immortal words of Soren Bowie, my arm is not long enough for the jerk-off motion that's in my soul.
I want these fucking tweets like on needlepoint. Like,
No, Tom, what we need are to just take all these tweets, like needlepoint them, frame them together, and say, "From the man who brought you aliens, colonial marines."
Like it's honestly like I have never seen. Like, imagine being a Gearbox employee on this day.
If I was a Gearbox employee, I'd be like, "Hey man, can we go back to when everyone was just talking about him watching squirting videos?"
Yeah, like I can't even imagine what they must be feeling. Like, this was supposed to be their big reveal.
Yeah,
like this was supposed to be the big gameplay reveal to get everybody excited about this game. They've clearly been working very hard on for a lot of years, and then your boss has one of the stupidest Twitter meltdowns that I have ever seen. And nobody can get his phone away from him.
So, like, dude, he went full Trump. Like, he went full fucking Trump on Twitter.
Yeah, basically.
I'm not going to compare the two because I think the bullshit Trump says. I think Randy Pitchford is awful. I think the bullshit Trump says is about 10 times more awful.
Oh no! I'm just talking. Like, I imagine somebody wanting to like slap the phone out of his hand and say, "Shut the fuck up! Stop!"
3 a.m. sitting on the toilet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Fair.
But Reb, you actually had. Oh, Justin, was there another tweet? Was there one more tweet?
No, that was all the ones.
There were 50-something more tweets.
There's a lot more, but
oh god, yeah.
Those were some of the highlights.
But not only just don't just imagine being a Gearbox employee. Imagine being somebody at Game Informer, who's like, "Bro, we're just reporting what you said, man. Like, this is literally what the fuck you said." Like,
this is how news works.
So I want to kick it over to Reb because Reb actually works in the industry. Reb is actually a very talented, very accomplished journalist, and I know that
now I'm bullshit. But come on, but go on.
Don't do that. But I know that you've got some opinions on this.
I do. So my first very short opinion is, wow, and I think it's already been expressed in chat. Wow, I would love to see the contract between 2K and Gearbox because surely 2K is ripping their hair out right now. That's my very industry opinion. My more serious opinion is this is hilarious. I mean, this is extremely funny. But but it's also kind of I know it's really funny. It's also kind of not funny because it's playing into something really shitty. And the shitty thing that it's playing into is the fact that there is certainly, and we've talked about it on the show before, we all know, there is a contingent of people that think that games journalism is corrupt and the media is a bunch of liars and that you can't trust anything those damn journalists say. And this feeds into that. And I don't think Pitchford is sitting there on his phone thinking, yeah, I'm gonna fucking support Gamergate right now. Like, that's not what he's thinking. He's being a big baby is what he's being. But
there's one of the tweets in particular specifically says, "I've taken shit from your side a lot," which I think that's the most telling for what you're trying to say, where he puts it out as like if the press is like in opposition to him instead of people that are covering his game.
Yes, and that I think that's the dangerous part, right? Like there is a contingent of people who look at the media as their enemies, and I think that's true in the wider world today, especially with the way Trump has eroded trust in the media. And I think that's true in the games industry because I mean I could get into a whole like hour-long thing of this, but there were a lot of precursors to the things we're seeing now in politics in this country when you look at Gamergate. And one of those things is mistrust in the media. And Game Informer was just doing its fucking job.
And they were right.
They were absolutely right. Like anybody who was there at that event will tell you that. And anybody who actually watched the presentation will tell you that. But you look at Twitter now and there are a bunch of people who are on Game Informer's side because they're right. But there's also a big pile of people that seem to feel they need to stand up for an extremely rich and powerful CEO of a company.
Well, someone thinking of billionaires. Oh, millionaires in this case.
Yeah, however rich he is, I don't know. But and this extremely rich and powerful CEO of a company is making himself look so soft and pathetic next to a journalist, like a journalist who is just reporting on the thing that she saw. At least
Accurately.
Yeah,
a journalist
accurately.
that was accurately reporting.
That's the thing that gets me, right?
Yeah.
Is like, it's like, look, it's a fucking microtransaction. Like, it doesn't matter if it's just cosmetics. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're paying for in game from a it's a fucking microtransaction. That's what it is. You're paying for a service in a game. It's a microtransaction. Doesn't matter if it's cosmetic or if it actually affects the gameplay.
The craziest part was like,
this is. I'm sorry. I'm going to finish the last thing
sorry.
that I wanted to say. This is the same thing that I think to an even greater degree was an issue with THQ Nordic's thing on 8chan and a whole bunch of other stuff we've seen in the last year. It's a major gaming figure or company doing something that appears to support a contingent of assholes and jerkwads and people who want to destroy well-meaning people who are just trying to do their jobs. I don't think they're specifically thinking in their minds, yes, this is what we want to support, but they're giving that group validation and they're giving that group power and they're giving that group somebody powerful to rally behind so they can point to it and say, look at this. This guy doesn't think we're wrong, so we're probably fine, right? Yay, Borderlands. It's a game that supports the things that we think are right. And that's dangerous things, dangerous place to sit.
You know, when you're handing out torches, you got to be careful that you're not handing them out to a hate mob,
like,
you know?
And like also, yeah, and like I fully agree with that. Like, but also the other thing that was so crazy about this, like, this is one of the most self-inflicted things I can imagine. Like, if you look, especially like at that like 19 tweet thread that he did at the end, he couldn't, like, it was like he was cursed by a witch to literally not be able to like not be able to say that microtransactions were in Borderlands 3. Like,
it was so easily solvable.
Like, it was
so
like
easy.
he could have so easily clarified what he meant. Like, and the thing is, like, if you read between the lines on all of his apologies, like, he has, he says, he's like, hey, I wanted to say that there wasn't, like, you know, the intense free-to-play game mechanics and stuff like that, which would have been a perfect clarification. Nobody would have gotten mad. This whole thing would have blown over. And the thing is, we are not done with Randy's meltdown.
Dear God, no.
Because, well, one thing came out a few weeks ago, is that Troy Baker was not returning to voice Reese. And there is a lot of, there is, both him and Randy have said very different things about that situation. He says he was never asked to return, which I had always suspected was a money budget thing, because I imagine Troy Baker, especially
Troy
these
fucking
days,
Baker, right? Yeah.
Yeah, is probably not the cheapest voice actor.
Well,
and then Randy said that Troy Baker was offered the role and turned it down. Which you know, again, so Baker responded with, "I think you should get your facts straight. That is not what happened."
Well, let's not gloss over the whole David Eddings thing.
Well, that's what I was getting to, because that's another voice
painting
actor.
He's setting a scene for you, John.
Yeah.
Are you setting Justin? Are you setting the table right now? Like, is this what this is? Like,
I am, because it's another conflict with a voice actor about money and, well, a conflict.
It assaults, like a literal conflict, like an actual
So,
conflict in a parking lot.
So it has become clear that also Claptrap voice actor is getting replaced. Claptrap was voiced by David Eddings, who was an employee at Gearbox for a while, that actually volunteered to voice Claptrap along with his regular duties, development duties. And he has voiced Claptrap through
for so basically
everything so far until Borderlands 3. And and Claptrap has a lot of lines. And then
but I also want to
you know, it became clear that he had talked to them and was trying to get compensation for his previous voice acting credits as Claptrap, which I think is very fair, as well as getting, you know, paid for the Borderlands 3 situation, and then also said that he also alleges that Randy assaulted him in the lobby of a hotel last year.
And that's where I want to kick it to. I want to ask Tom and Reb. Was David Eddings actually at this Borderlands 3 presentation?
I don't know. What he
No,
looks like.
why? I mean,
Why-
I
why would
didn't
he
see
be?
him, but why would he be? He doesn't work for Gearbox.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess he doesn't. Yeah. So like I've actually met David Eddings. I met him at PAX West last year. And he seemed like a perfectly personable, individual, but this whole assault thing really kind of threw everybody for a loop, because initially it started as, oh, well, I'm not getting paid. I was never paid for Claptrap. I was never paid for voicing anything. And then he came out with this thing about assault. And Derek, if I'm not mistaken, Randy didn't exactly deny that the assault happened, right?
I don't think Randy's addressed that part at all.
Randy has gotten, this has been the thing that got Randy to be quiet. We have not had the same kind of reaction to the assault allegation as we have with him saying there's no microtransactions in a game with microtransactions.
So like I want to kick it down to Tom. Obviously, I've never met Randy. I mean, I don't know Randy personally, and quite honestly, at this point, I don't really think I'd ever actually want to meet the guy because he kind of seems like he kind of seems like a turd. Like, I don't know, man. Like, Tom, at the end of the day, like, I know that you're going to pick up Borderlands 3, and I know that we're all probably going to pick it up. At least most of us will. I know Brandon won't. But does this at all, Tom, like, I don't know, make it all feel a little dirty for you? Like I'm not going to boycott the game because this is in no way, shape, or form the fault of any of the hardworking developers at Gearbox. But at the same time, it still makes me feel kind of gross knowing everything that Randy has done and said in the past, and now this. Like I'm kind of buying into all this. If I pick up Borderlands 3, I don't know, man. I feel super conflicted.
I don't know. Would you here's where I stand by it. First off, I have to get the game regardless because I have a job to do. So like any moral standings I have kind of go out the window because at the end of the day I still have to get it. The other thing is, for me, is it worth sticking it to one guy who's not going to feel it because he's already rich to like, for a game I otherwise would have wanted to play on a moral grounds, would I rather stick it to Randy, and in doing by not paying money, and in doing so also fucking over those smaller people who were just doing their jobs and like are the ones who do feel it, who are going to get laid off, who are going to have to deal with shit because their job boss was a fucking dickhead like on Twitter and would yell at people and abuse people. Like, ultimately, I always fall in line with the workers.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, like, even when it talks like, oh, like, people are saying, oh, man, are they going to stick with, like, this stuff? I'm like, yeah, like, nothing's going to fucking happen to Randy because Borderlands 2, when you factor everything in, sold something like 13 million copies. Like, their Take-Two's not going to do a goddamn thing. So, like, I would rather support those workers than anything else.
That's
like,
well said, man.
Yeah.
Them, I would.
I also definitely get the impression, just based off what I've seen from 2K and Gearbox, that they aren't really in control of Pitchford, and most of them, like all the because I asked 2 of the 3 developers that I talked to, and then from what I understand from 2K's statements, they were all like, yeah, there's cosmetic stuff you can pay real money for. I mean, they were kind of dodgy about using the word microtransactions, I think because of what happened. But they were straightforward with it, and they all seemed a little bit sheepish about, there's microtransactions, basically. So this is not anyone's fault but Randy fucking Pitchford.
Agreed.
Yes.
I saw Derek had his hand up, and then I want to ask Reb a question about this, and then we'll move on. Derek, go ahead, man.
Yes, this is just short, but within the same topic. So the show, was it, I guess, before last, when it was basically just me and Brandon from the show were on. We actually had kind of some talk along the subjects. It was all about unions, and the subject of boycotts came up, and I think kind of where we landed is boycotts are not going to be the most effective way to exact change, and you really can't shame people for boycotting if they feel like it's like if they absolutely can't bring themselves to buy a game, but you also really can't shame people for choosing to buy it because they're supporting the workers and it's more than just the guy at the top. So you kind of need to look within yourself about how you on an individual level feel and understand that it's not going to be us boycotting or not boycotting a game that causes change. Like, change in the industry and change against figures comes more from the press and through conversation than anything, because you're not going to stop Borderlands 3 from selling 20 million units.
Yeah.
It's going to
No,
happen.
you're not going to make the big change by being every dude who would come into my Starbucks every time that Howard Schultz said something stupid when he was CEO and try and give it to me. And I'm like, yeah, I make $12 an hour. You're really sticking it to visibility now.
You got to do what you feel is right.
Did you work at Starbucks?
I did. Yeah, I worked
Me
there for 5 years.
too.
I did
Former
5 years
Starbucks
there.
workers.
Yeah, I spent 5 years there, and every time you do something stupid, they'd be like,
Yep.
"You let me tell you about your boss." I'm like, "I'm cool. I don't
Like,
care."
you know what? You are not my problem, sir.
I should remind me one day to tell you guys about my time working on Sunglass Hut. That was a fucking thing. Hey, Julian in chat, what's up, man? Haven't seen, I'm glad Julian's here. Reb, I wanted to throw a question to you before we move on. You're a games journalist. You work in the industry. You do a lot of great work. How do you move forward with, like, how does the industry move forward in dealing with Randy Pitchford now? Because, like, this was a direct attack on one of the largest game publications there is, and as you very correctly stated, like, this is, whether or not he meant to do it, this is Gamergate fuel. That's exactly what this is. Even though he's wrong, even though he's 100% wrong, for the most militant of that of that group, it's not going to matter that he's wrong. It's going to matter that he said it. And it like, being right or wrong doesn't matter. So Reb, going forward, like, how do you see the industry's relationship with Randy Pitchford in the future, like over the next year? Like, I mean, how do you get past that?
I do think, just kind of on a contract level, it'll be, because I mean, I don't know what his contract is with 2K. I don't know what Gearbox's relationship with 2K is. I will be interested to see if down the line 2K is maybe a little more picky about what it allows him to say and do in terms of marketing in its contracts with him. I don't know when that would come into effect, because I'm not a buff on all the history about this, but my understanding is this is not the first time he has kind of been stupid about a game that he was, supposed to be marketing.
I mean,
this is extremely normal Randy Pitchford behavior.
Doesn't he also have multiple lawsuits ongoing right now?
Oh God, we cannot get into the.
I know we can't get into that, but I mean,
yes,
might play a role in
he is very,
things play out.
Yeah, he is very quickly becoming a liability. I would not be surprised if within the next year or two, we see some sort of very, very, pleasant, lighthearted story of him taking a step back from his CEO role and moving into an advisory position.
I could see
moving
that.
to do something else.
Yeah, a kind of resigning, but like,
I'm staying on in an advisory role.
I fully expect the board to give him the old Elon Musk, where he can't fucking tweet about the company anymore, and all he tweets is like, just bought stankmemes.com. Oh yeah.
So, like,
on a wider level, to answer your actual question, I had an interesting conversation the other day with someone who works in the European side of the games industry. And we weren't talking about Randy Pitchford, we were talking about THQ Nordic. And because I've already brought this up before, it's kind of been on my mind. Their whole AMA on HM, we talked about it on the podcast a while back.
Oh God.
And
shout out to Mark.
And I don't mean to drag that in here, but it was interesting to find out from them that the European industry, and not even just the European industry, but kind of even more figures, as I talked to him a little bit more about it, a lot of people kind of regarded that as, sort of a stupid, haha, it was a PR blunder, it was really stupid and bad, but they didn't, it seems like a lot of people don't see that as damaging as it is. It seems like the people who recognize that as kind of a dog whistle to really bad people, that's not a big contingent of people, and it's not a big contingent of people who are in power. or at least in power to make some kind of decision. And I suspect that the Randy Pitchford thing is going to go the same way. I suspect that for the most part, people are going to look at it, they're going to laugh at it. That's stupid. What a dumbass. Haha. And they're just kind of going to move on and they're not going to worry about it. And I don't think there's anything like actively damaging about it, but I think he's just adding a little bit more fodder to a group of people who have already proven
any spark they can.
Yeah. And I don't think this is going to be game changing. I don't think this is going to shift the industry in some horrible direction. I think there's already a horrible group of people that are, that pay attention to games and are involved in games that would do terrible things. And I think they're just taking this and adding it to their little pile. And I don't think that enough people in charge care. And that's a really cynical viewpoint for me because I do tend to be an optimist. But I unfortunately think it's the truth. I think the game industry moves on quite realistically in the way that it always has. It just sort of laughs at the problem. Oh, that was stupid. And then it moves on and does something else. I think Randy Pitchford gradually gets gently nudged aside and we all sort of forget this ever happened. And that's not the way that I want us to move on. I would like us to have a more serious conversation about the relationship between the media and PR and the industry and all these other things. I would like us to have some sort of come to Jesus talk about what our role actually is and what it means to be a journalist or a hype person or any of those things. But we're not going to have that conversation today because of Randy Pitchford. I wish we could. I wish we could have had it several years ago, but we're not having it today. It sucks. So we got to keep fighting the good fight and talking about these issues when they come up and hope that at some point people listen, I guess.
Yep.
Imran in chat makes a really good point. He says, from his perspective, even if I necessarily wanted to, not reporting on Borderlands 3 isn't an option.
Oh, it's
He's
not.
Right.
It's absolutely not.
He's right. Justin, go ahead, bud, and then we're going to move on.
Yeah. And I think I know I like to joke around about a lot of this stuff. I've made my share of 8chan jokes, and obviously I've made my share of jokes about Randy's tweets and stuff. I do agree with what Reb is saying, and I think it's almost kind of like a sad state of the industry is that we have so many of these little controversies. Well, sometimes not even little, sometimes big controversies. But sometimes it seems like they come up every few days or every week. So we just have to move, we end up moving on to the next one instead of actually reflecting on what the previous ones mean and how they impact the industry. And that's also a sorry state for everything to be in, where nothing gets due time because there's no way we can give everything due time because there's so much shit like this that we have to talk about.
Yep.
We're not even going to get to it all tonight, but it has been just one hell of a week once again for video games. An extremely normal week in the game.
Speaking of video games, by the way, can I just say
what the fuck is that?
Moving on.
What the fuck else do we talk about on this show, John?
Moving on.
Speaking of video games.
I'm being ironic. Moving on from Borderlands and Randy, can I just say that the Medieval remake looks like shit? It looks real bad. The
other big game they showed
bad.
looked like shit too, so it's all good.
The Sugar Glider
they didn't
game
show
looked
anything
cool.
bigger than Medieval. What are you
The
talking
Sugar Glider
about?
game looked cool, where you
The
play
Sugar
as a
Glider
sugar
game
glider.
looked
Oh, that did not look cool. Did it look cool?
The Sugar
Yeah.
Glider game, yeah.
Sort of
Okay.
vaguely stupid.
So
It's cute. I
so-
like it.
First of all, the whole state of play thing is neat, but it feels so stale and fucking sterile, and there's no personality. It's just like
I mean,
Oh,
it's
I don't
kind
like
of
it.
funny that we
John
think
wants
Nintendo
someone-
Directs have personality, but that
John
was
wants
basically...
someone who doesn't want to be there to come on and talk for 3 minutes before they show you a 90-second trailer for all the stuff that they're just going to cut out and put the trailers up anyway. John, this is what the people want. This is what everyone wants. They just want the straight trailers. not someone
Man,
wasting your
I
fucking
want the
time.
old Directs with freaking
The-
Muppets and Reggie bullshit. That's what I want.
I miss the
old
Reggie.
I
Directs
don't
are
care
fun.
that it's all
The-
marketing shit. I think
think
it's hilarious.
I think the new directs are even more sterile than
They really
State
are.
of Play.
They are. They're not any
'cause,
better.
The gameplay, at least State of Play has regular cut trailers, whereas the recent Nintendo Directs are we're just gonna show some gameplay footage while we have the most monotone narration just describing features that are in this game.
But this is the time when we drag Brandon into the conversation. He's been quiet all night. He's been waiting. Brandon, finally tonight, dude.
Did somebody say Final Fantasy?
Exactly. That's what we're talking about right now, right this minute. Brandon's been actually away. He's been away from the mic for the past hour. But Brandon, dude, finally we got it tonight, and we're gonna find more at E3. How many times have you watched the trailer now?
12, 15. It's only a minute, so yeah. You can get
So
through it.
what trailer are we
Fucking-
talking about, guys?
We're talking
No
about
good
the.
games exist, right?
We're talking about the medieval trailer. No, we're talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake, which there was a lot of rumors that we were going to see it today, and of course, Shinji Hashimoto, tweeting out multiple, just multiple things, and of course, the Final Fantasy Twitter account. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but the other day tweeted,
the Chocobo Farm.
yeah, the Chocobo Farm from Final Fantasy VII.
And there was a sound effect at the beginning.
There was,
of
there was,
the
well,
same
and that's what I knew, right?
When
Like
you
that's-
first select new game. and
Yeah.
By the
that's
way,
what-
can we Reb is getting like really mad at something quietly, and I love
I believe it's
love
cat.
it.
I think it's,
It's just okay. Okay, all right. I was like, is she,
just clawing her way into my lap in the middle
I thought you were-
of a podcast.
I thought you were yelling. I thought you were yelling at your cat. I was, or I'm sorry.
I
No,
She
at your
was.
phone. Sorry, I'm fucking out of brain fart. I thought you were yelling at your phone. I was like, did Reb just get like a text that she's mad at? Like, how the fuck would you say this to me? But
No,
apparently,
this cat's a pile of bullshit, and I love her.
apparently Hashimoto also retweeted the Nintendo E3 Direct announcement. Who knows what that means? But Brandon, what do you think of the trailer, man? Like, there was a lot there for guys like you and me who just
Exactly.
fucking
Yeah, there was each scene was like what 2 seconds, and so there's a lot to because it's flashing from scene to
Derek.
scene. And if you've played the game before, like if you had no context, you wouldn't know what you're looking at. But like if you played the game before, you're like, oh, that's that enemy, and this is
there's
this part of the
apps
game.
and there's the fucking guard
Yeah,
scorpion.
exactly. Yeah, like it shows it for like 2 seconds, but if you've played the game, like 2 seconds is all you need to like get your mind going.
So Derek hasn't seen the trailer yet, but Derek, I'm sorry, we got to talk about the trailer.
No,
now.
keep going. It's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
What am I
I'm
worried about?
sorry.
Spoilers and marketing?
I mean, the best part of it is we only have to wait another month for more. Like,
Brandon, how about that fucking cross slash?
yeah, exactly. Like it looks amazing. The
Oh my
animations are
God.
incredible. Like it's all there.
my-
It doesn't look that different than it did 4 years ago, which is
I'm-
good because I loved what it looked like.
You ready to play this game on PlayStation 5? Do you think
Yeah,
its
it
lifespan-
Oh,
will be
it's-
cross-gen.
It'll be cross-gen, absolutely. Yeah,
Cross-gen, you
I'm-
think it's coming out next year, John?
I think the first episode is it's
Considering
episodic.
they only showed shit from like the first 8 minutes of that video game.
It's episodic. It's
They,
so
I mean,
okay.
they
All right,
showed
so it's episodic.
they showed
Yeah,
up
it's
to
this episode
2/3
done.
of Midgar.
Yeah.
They
No,
So
showed-
at this rate, the whole
yeah,
game will be
well,
done for my
hold on.
grandchildren.
They were showing well after you already get through Don Corneo's mansion. Like at the app's boss
Yeah.
fight is after he drops you in the little in the secret chute. So like that's almost right when you're at the fucking Shinra HQ and like you're almost out of Midgar. So
So-
Still don't think this
they've
game is coming
they've
out.
got that all done.
So this is my single Final Fantasy VII opinion. I don't like Final Fantasy VII. I apologize. However, Final Fantasy VII is kind of in some ways sort of bullshit in a funny way. Like there are some very I tweeted a list. There was a Reddit list that went around when they first announced this. That was something, it was on Imager. That was like the list of Final Fantasy enemies that will absolutely not be in the remake, but really should be. And there are all these just dumbass, stupid-looking enemies that have no reason
There's some
being.
weird shit.
Oh,
There's some
it's
weird
so
shit.
weird.
I mean,
And,
a lot
Don-
of them are just explained from because it's all like Mako experimentation
Yeah.
and shit.
But there's
Yeah,
also
but
but
there's
like
Kojo is
I-
doing crazy science.
I
shit.
actually saw
But
that.
anyway, that's not like so. There's that, but then there's also just like weird bullshit in Final
Yeah,
Fantasy
like
VII.
how do you
kind
explain
of
the
funny.
house? How do you explain
Yeah.
that?
Hell House.
Like,
Hell House is the
this
fucking
game is
best.
gonna be so serious. Like, there's no way this game is going to be full of the bullshit that it was. in
Oh,
the
it
original,
absolutely
and-
will be, Reb.
No, it will not.
It will be.
It's gotta
You're
be.
fighting.
Like,
You're fighting a fucking ghost pirate ship in the bowels of the underwater reactor. I guarantee
They
it.
still have the original people working on it, and those people still made the game special.
No,
guarantee-
but I think they know. I just.
I mean,
there's no-
obviously some things are going to be changed, like Don Corneo's mansion. That
about it?
can't stay
Yeah,
the same.
that-
I'm
that-
pretty
and
sure
that's-
they
Yeah.
have
But
said
like,
it was.
but I think
How
they
sure
said
are
it's
you of
still
that?
in. They
So-
haven't said that it's the same.
I
Right,
can't
it
wait for
needs
it to
some
be
help.
super transphobic and for people to be like, wait,
Yeah.
guys, not like this.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think they can do. I think like the Yakuza games have done stuff like that is still very funny and not nearly as
Has the
upsetting.
Final Fantasy Square Enix and Final Fantasy done
Yeah.
stuff like that wasn't cringy.
Yeah.
And offensive.
So I hope they I'm curious to see how they change it, because I know they're gonna try. They could mess it up. Like, seeing that trailer was really cool for me, because I'm not as vocal about my love for Final Fantasy VII as a lot of the other people on the show are, but like, that is the very first game I was able to fully complete by myself as a kid.
Oh no shit, I didn't know that.
It has a very special place in my heart because of that. I'm really excited for the remake, because like, I don't think I've ever gotten I think like the two trailers that have gotten me most excited for games ever were the Twilight Princess reveal trailer and that CG PS3 tech demo Final Fantasy VII trailer that we all thought was never going to actually be a thing, and the fact that it's now actually a thing is very exciting.
So obviously the combat, active time battle is gone. It's all action oriented. It seems very akin to Final Fantasy 15, which is a good thing, because I like the battle
Seems
system.
like Kingdom Hearts.
It seems more Kingdom Hearts.
It does seem
the
How
menu
do people
is
feel about
right
that?
out
That's
of
such a
Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
huge change.
the menu-
I'm very
Amazing.
okay with it.
You can change your party members. You can press L2, R2.
Yep,
Like,
I'm totally fine with that.
there'll be enough strategy in there. I like how they have shortcuts. Like, it seems like I haven't played any Kingdom Hearts game, so I don't know if they do this as well. But it seems like you can map like maybe your most important attacks to
that you can
shortcut
do like.
menu.
Hopefully, it's like just like Kingdom Hearts, because you can actually set up multiple different presets for that.
Okay.
Have
which
we
would actually
basically
be pretty good.
have we basically agreed that turn-based battle is out?
Oh yeah. I mean, that was.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
out.
I'm
think
pretty
there was
sure-
ever a question that.
John agreeing with that is very strange to me.
I'm pretty
No,
sure
it's
at this
out.
point, I'm pretty sure at this point, Modern Square Enix will not release a console title that has turn-based combat.
No,
Like,
I mean,
okay, Switch
Octopath Traveler.
Okay, Switch is the exception, because it is also like a portable machine.
Well, and like World of Final Fantasy was like what, a month or two before Final Fantasy 15. So
I forgot about
Dragon
World of Final
Quest.
Fantasy.
And
Also,
Dragon Quest.
Dragon
completely.
Okay,
Dargon Quest.
Dragon Quest.
So big budget Final Fantasy.
Okay, I
There.
got you. Okay, I got you. So what I want to see is the So some of these boss fights in Final Fantasy VII, like for example, Brandon, you know what I'm talking about, or anybody else who's played Final Fantasy VII, when you fight Palmer, for example, who's just like an old
The comedy relief fight of the game.
Shinra executive in his late 50s, and he gets hit by a truck. Like, there's no way they can actually recreate the
ass at you.
he flaps his ass, he pats his ass at you. Like, there's no actual way they can recreate the Palmer boss fight, right?
They have to.
They
have
can.
to. They have to.
I mean, I don't.
He has to bend over, flap his ass at you, duck under a plane, and get hit by a truck, and it can't go down any other way.
Like I said, this game is going to be seriously devoid of bullshit.
I disagree.
I'm already disappointed at the fact that Cloud's arms are not like humongous on top and tiny on bottom.
He doesn't have huge blocks for hands anymore. It's a little disconcerting.
It's very disappointing.
But I'm really interested. Like, one thing that I've been very impressed about is the updated character designs, because I think they did a really good job of towing that line between faithful to the original designs and being updated to look like we would expect today. Like, I'm very pleased with what we've seen from the character
They're
designs
intentionally
so far.
holding out on showing Tifa.
Oh
yeah,
yes.
they're not showing Tifa yet.
Tifa is going to be changed.
Tifa has to be changed.
Oh my god, I do
very
not. Can
strongly-
someone? Should I start insulting Robert E. Lee on Twitter so I can get banned when they reveal her?
Yeah.
Because I'm
You
not
know
really
what's-
sure that
I very
I
strongly
want to
believe
be
they'll just go with the
around
Advent
when
Children.
the bullshit
Yeah, the Advent
bitches
Children
show
design
up
makes sense.
and start complaining about her boobs.
You know
People are
what's
gonna-
funny?
People are
She
gonna be
doesn't
pissed.
even really look that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like the original artwork for her, we're talking like PlayStation 1 era, is really not even that exaggerated, is it? It wasn't until
Only
like
in the
Advent.
CG
In the CG it is.
Okay, but I was gonna say, like, I remember the character
But
model in
in the
game and the
drawn
artwork in like the manual wasn't that bad, but then like
looks-
Advent
the artwork
Children.
in the manual was.
They're
Was it?
probably gonna follow
Yeah.
what she looked like in Advent Children.
Yeah,
I've
that's
actually
what
She
I
got-
had the
think.
correct outfit, and she
I've
looked
actually
great
got-
in Advent Children.
I actually have right here on my desk the manual.
Oh
For
yeah,
Final Fantasy
correct the
VII.
record for us, Game Dad.
Lick
Yeah,
it.
and I can tell you.
Did you just tell him to lick it?
You tell me to lick it? I'm pretty sure you said lick it.
Did you tell him to lick it?
Strategy guide.
I don't
didn't
know.
say shit.
I still have
Pretty
the strategy
sure I
guide.
heard
What do
lick
you
it.
think I said?
So let's have a look at Yeah, I mean, it's got her character model. It's not too bad. It's actually not too
It's
bad.
not. They're not as big. And there's a cutscene in that game where she's like lifting herself up, and she like throws her rack up on the entire like cliff of a mountain.
I know what you're
before she-
talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
and then there's the scene where like they're on the highway and they get off balance a little bit, and she's kind of like trying to like balance herself, but her boobs are just going.
And
all
people
we
are
just-
gonna be mad because censorship in my video game.
But yeah, like I mean, in the manual, it's not that bad.
Are they gonna edit out her? Does she have vagina bones?
Yeah,
That they can...
what happened to the vagina bones?
Jesus.
Can we all just like
somebody
Oh, the
pointed
Dissidia- yeah, the
somebody
Dissidia.
pointed out that the guy that made the vagina bones tweet has not deleted it, which
Of course
is
he
I think the funniest thing.
He'll delete it
course
on
he
the
hasn't.
same day that Randy Pitchford deletes his tweet.
is nobody going to comment on the fact that John, why do you just have a copy of Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation?
I
Just
actually don't
literally
question
within-
that at
I
all.
have a
Within
copy
arm's
of Final
reach.
Fantasy
I
VII
wasn't
on
gonna
I
ask
have
because
both
you
the
want-
I don't
strategy
like the
guide and the copy of the game. Too.
Yeah.
But so there's something else that I would like to see from Final Fantasy VII, and I'm not too keen on the game being. Do we still think this game is episodic? Like I mentioned it earlier, but
Yeah, they
but,
said it was, right?
but
I
we're
don't
not
even
that
trust-
was-
They,
That
they
was-
haven't said that in years.
Yeah, it was years ago, and it's changed developers since then.
Yeah.
It's
So, like,
restarted
it's
development like
possible
3
they-
times already. Like,
Yeah, like they moved it from being an external team to internal at Square Enix since then. So we don't really know much about the status of where things are at.
Tom,
Like,
what do you?
Because when they first said that was back when it was on the Luminous engine.
It was.
And then they said they restarted it on UE4, and then it got like redone a third time after they moved it internal.
So
It's definitely going to be Aerith, and there's with a TH.
it is going to be Aerith.
And
I'm
there's gonna
so
be-
mad. It
already
sounds
But
so
there's gonna
bad.
be-
It says
here's the
Aerith
thing.
in the trailer.
There's going to be
Yeah.
a joke like midway through the game where someone mispronounces her name as Eris, and
Oh, I guarantee
they're
it.
gonna and they're gonna laugh about it and kind of like wink to the camera and then move on.
And I'm gonna
What-
put my controller through the TV.
I want to see a reference to this guy or sick. Like I know they cleaned it up in the
A
HD version,
reference
but
would be okay. Yeah,
I,
I'd be okay
I,
with
I
that.
want
yeah.
I want to see a reference to like I don't know, like spray
It's
painted
the
on a wall
most
or something.
iconic mistranslation in gaming history.
It is. It really. I fucking love
What
that.
is?
What's that?
What is?
This guy are sick.
are sick.
This
I
guy
don't know
are
what that
sick.
is.
Oh no, dude! It's when it's in the original PlayStation version of the
You don't
game.
need to explain to me.
Okay, fine. I won't. Fuck Tom.
Because
Fuck.
honestly, I don't care.
I fucking won't explain it to you, Tom. Jesus.
This
But,
is-
If there's so here's my question, right? Like barring whether or not it's episodic, I'm not convinced anymore that it's actually episodic because it has changed developers. I think like a couple times now anyway. But when do we actually think this is releasing? Because somebody in chat said end of the year, believe, and I'm like, like
So
I
if
do.
it's-
I don't
Is the-
mean to.
Might have been Dio.
I don't
If
mean
it's
to
the
like.
full game, when
so-
do you think it comes out?
So I don't mean to like excessively cite Imran here again, but he actually made a point on Twitter right before or right after we started that I thought was smart, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it up in front of me. But he mentioned that Square Enix and their financials basically were accounting for he can clarify what I'm saying here, the level of revenue for like Final Fantasy 15 in their projections for this coming year.
So I saw that.
I
I
think
saw
I saw
that
it
myself
too.
earlier, but then I also remembered that Square Enix is the company that had a giant event to announce the Final Fantasy 15 release date
And
and,
then
then
they
delayed it
delayed it.
afterwards.
That was so good. That was so
Um,
fucking good.
So I just don't have much faith
Yeah,
in
but
any.
it's harder.
Like, even if they tell us a release date, I'm not gonna believe
It's
it.
not that they're telling a release date though. It's that they seem to be accounting. And I again, I have not looked at this. I have not like gone back and revisited their financials because we've been podcasting. But if indeed they've accounted for this huge revenue source in their financials this year, akin to the size of Final Fantasy 15, like that is interesting, right? Like
I think
like,
they
you don't-
believe it
you
will hit
can
this
kind
fiscal
of-
year.
you can kind of bullshit people about release dates, but it's a little harder to try to bullshit investors
Yeah.
because you need to try to not bullshit them as much as possible. So
Yeah,
that's
I wouldn't be-
interesting.
I wouldn't be surprised if they intend for it to
I think
hit. Then I'm not sure it will actually.
I think his early 20. I think what he's saying in chat, the early 2020 is possible. I'm extremely skeptical. If he hadn't brought up that point about the financials, I'd be like, no fucking way. That could
Yeah.
also mean they have something else. coming out this year.
Imran
They-
also says, "I bet it's fucking Avengers," which is my bet.
I don't know.
True.
Avengers was announced in January
I've heard
2017.
some stuff.
Okay, well, but
Yeah.
still, that game, I can't believe the announcement was. It was announced in January 2017, and specifically in that trailer, they said more information in 2018. And we are halfway through 2019.
Here we
Both
are.
Infinity War and Endgame have released, and they haven't said a word about that game.
So well, and Dio echoes what I've been saying is what the fuck is happening to that Avengers project?
Imran also says Crystal D has been on like constant crunch since that game was announced.
God, I can't even imagine. Fuck. Like if I never have to hear another conversation about crunch again,
Well,
I wish that
You're
shit
going to
would
be
go away.
hearing a
I
lot
know,
of conversations
I know.
about crunch. In the
I
I
know.
almost,
I know.
I almost wonder
Fucking
if
terrible.
it got rebooted at some point, because like early rumors
had to.
was that it was something like
Massively
Destiny.
online. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
I
I
remember
don't,
that.
which I don't know if that would be a good fit for the IP. Like, I think
Absolutely not.
the you don't want to have to spend hours and
think-
hours grinding out like Cap's shield. Like, you want to be able to play as these characters
Yeah.
doing these things
If-
the characters want to do.
I think we can all agree. If we don't hear about the Avengers game at E3, that game's in trouble. Like there's something else going on there. If we don't hear about this game at E3,
We agreed it was in trouble when we didn't hear about it last E3. I mean,
it was
you know.
definitely
Yeah.
they definitely originally probably planned, because if you think about it, they had to have thought they were going to release it, but not release it, but announce stuff at E3 and at the Game Awards, because they brought the Russo brothers out to both of those for no reason.
Yeah. I remember. Oh god, that was so fucking ridiculous.
They're big fans of video games right now, huh?
Major PD in chat says, I imagine Final Fantasy 16 is in pre-production. I think that's probably past that's been worked. That's been cooking for a while now. So I'm assuming we'll see an
I
announcement.
like
about
that you have a complete misunderstanding of the scale of time at which Square Enix does things. We'll be seeing Final Fantasy 16 in about 4 years.
I know. Please, God,
And that will be the first version
just
that
let me
gets
dream.
canceled.
Where in the hell is my Bravely Third? By the way,
that's coming. So I'm wondering if we're not going to see that at E3.
Gotta be
by the
something.
Oh
way,
my
Brad,
god,
because
John! Don't start with this.
No,
hey,
that team
it's
actually
time.
sticks to a schedule, so
It's
I
time.
believe that's coming.
Hey, if John is predicting something won't be there,
Fucker. Bravely Prime Trilogy. Asshole. Does anybody in chat have any questions for us before we start wrapping up here? I think we've covered all the I wanted to get into the Riot Games walk up, but we're just not going to have time for that. I do want to drop a few housekeeping things here. We have a lot of new content coming up for everybody. So next Friday morning, at either 8 or 9, we haven't just decided.
We'll put up a poll.
We'll put up a poll, yeah. Is going to be the first of our bi-weekly morning show with me and Derek. We're gonna get on there. We're gonna just do whatever.
We're working out plans. We have the time. We don't have a plan. We're gonna figure it out.
We don't even know what the fuck it's gonna be yet,
Awkward
but it's
robot.
gonna be something. It's gonna be a breakfast show for everybody. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna have some breakfast. We're gonna
What
fucking
time
talk
is
with everybody.
this, John?
8 or 9 in the morning on Friday. Every other
Eastern?
Friday, Eastern.
Put me on your damn show.
Okay, fine. You want to be on it too, Reb?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Hell, okay, so
I mean, we
change
should
of
like have
plans.
this conversation not on a stream, but
Yeah,
yeah.
Change of plans. It's going to be me and Reb and Derek in the morning, I guess. We'll come up with a fucking name for it, but we're going to do a morning show. It's going to be sick. It's going to be dope. You guys are going to fucking love it. And then on Monday, we are going to be finally, and for real this time, Justin and I are going to be relaunching Support Class with a brand new blue gradient that Derek worked up. It's going to be great. We're going to have a regular podcast, a regular anxiety podcast. I think we're talking about 8 o'clock, Justin, on Monday. I think
that sounds good.
Yep. But Imran wants to know if he can comes up with a name. So we did name. So Imran did come up with a name for Lore of the Things, which is our new pre-recorded show about. Why are you shaking your head at, Tom? Lore of the Things
I
is
hate the name.
it's a great name, Tom.
I liked Finn's name for it better, but I feel like I'm not allowed to say it on the podcast.
What it?
It was.
you can say it.
You can say it.
It was Lorgasm.
I don't like it.
That's a way better name.
I don't like
know.
it. I don't like
I
it. Don't encourage
understand
this.
why we're not doing it.
Don't encourage this.
I think like the name I suggested, everybody hated so much. I think if I say it, the show.
I love that Discord hated it so much that it actually edited out everything you just said. Like you literally went silent. Like it cut your sound out as you were talking. Discord's like, nope. But
it's not important.
But yeah, so there's a lot of new content coming up. Of course, we have the morning show next Friday with me, Derek, and now Rebekah. I'm very, very happy to that's awesome. That really pumps me up. And then we have support class relaunching every Monday night. With me and Justin at either 8 or 9. We'll get back to you on the time. But does anybody have anything else before we wrap up here? Anybody have any as Brandon knows, in the Marine Corps we call them saved rounds. Anybody have any saved rounds for anybody? No, nothing.
We didn't get to the riot stuff, but unionize.
Unionize. Everybody fucking unionize. And by the way, fuck
I feel like
you,
all
Delta.
we have to say on that is hell yeah. Like,
Fucking
hell yeah,
unionize.
riot. Oh,
Fucking-
not Delta. Not
Fuck
Fuck
Delta
Delta.
Airlines.
Fuck Delta.
Delta.
Oh my god. I wish I'd have brought that up sooner, but Jesus Christ, those ads from Delta. Holy shit. Like, oh my god. We'll get into that next week. But oh my god. But anyway, Tom, dude, this is like your 47th time on the podcast, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for chilling with us, dude.
Anytime.
All right. Well, if nobody else has anything, yep. Catch us next Friday and next Monday, and we got a bunch of cool shit coming up. I had a huge brain fart there for a minute. And of course, it's not always poetry.
Is our usual sign off. Just
Goodbye.
Unionize.
And we don't always agree, but we
We don't
keep it
always agree.
real. Where
It's
was the
real.
rest of
It's real. We don't always agree, but it's
But
real.
we do always unionize.